Hello and welcome to Ironcast, and welcome our first guest from West Ham Women's. And Ginge, we like to break exclusive news on this podcast.
We do.
We've got a brand new piece of exclusive news for you right now. The brand new captain of West Ham Women is Mackenzie Arnold on the show. Welcome, Mackenzie.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Captain of West Ham. How does it feel?
Yeah, a little bit surreal at the moment. I think it's been something that I've wanted to do for a while, especially with West Ham. I've been here nearly 4 years now. So, it's a club that is very close to my heart, and just to be able to lead the girls this season, I'm very excited for. But yeah, a little bit surreal.
Yeah. Ginge, you wore the armband a few times, didn't you? How did it feel?
I've done it I did it for West Ham and for me. It's like Mackenzie says, it's an absolute privilege, especially obviously the history of West Ham. You know, the captains we've had in the past who are iconic figures of the football club. So whenever you're captain, I was sporadic. You know, a couple of games here and there. Obviously, Mark Noble, Kev Nolan were my captains, but you know, Mackenzie, full captain, club captain, if you like. It's a massive honour, and I'm sure you're going to do a great job.
Thank you. Might have to ask a couple of tips every time.
No, don't ask me. Go speak to Nobes next door. Don't ask me.
You're only the third captain in the history of West Ham Women. How's it going to feel against City on Sunday, walking out with that armband on?
Oh yeah, quite special. I think I've been here with Gilly and Dags when they were captain, and I think I've learned a lot from them. And Dags is still, in the background helping me out. So it's going to feel very special. But I have a little bit of piece of them with me as well. So it'll be nice.
This caps off for you one of the greatest years of anyone associated with West Ham United. You got to the final four of the World Cup with the Matildas, but also your heroics in the penalty shootout in the quarters against France to get you there. I mean, what a year. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's been a very, I wouldn't say unexpected, but a bit of a roller coaster. I think my whole career is just, with the national team especially, has just been very up and down, and always been fighting for that starting spot. So I think even up until, the last game before the World Cup started, I was still, just really hoping that I was going to start in the World Cup. So for all of that to follow, it's just been a whirlwind, to be honest, but one that I'm very grateful for, of course.
Tell me about that whirlwind, because we all watched the scenes in Australia, the crowds gathered around big screens in cities all over the country, and that moment when you won the penalty shootout. How did it feel to be in that bubble, right in the centre of it? It was a mad story.
Yeah, it's definitely a feeling that I can't even put into words. Like, to think that I almost actually lost it for them, the fact that I hit the post, and I just thought, if we lose on that, I will never forget it. So the fact that I was able to do my job again for the girls, and I guess it was just such a big moment for both the team, but for the country in general. Before we got to the World Cup in Australia, I don't think we really expected that kind of response from Australia, and it was just, I can't put into words the way they got behind us the whole tournament, and even when we lost the semi-final, and they were still, so supportive of us. And I think that's what really made us realise the impact that we had on the country for not women in sport, football, but women in sport in general. I think it was just such a big event for the country.
Yeah. When you was in the cap, was you aware of what the fans were doing back home? I remember when we went to the Euros, and obviously because you're out of it a little bit, you don't really know what the fans are going through. But we were getting sent videos from fans back in Cardiff, and was you aware of that as a squad?
Not at all.
No.
Honestly, no. We got sent so many videos after it, and it was even just I think the men's footy teams, and the rugby league, the guys that don't usually watch women's football, but they're all there. But I think it was actually during one of the AFL games that they'd put it on the big screen, and then once the game started, they took it off the big screen, and everyone went into the walkway to actually watch our game. Yeah, so stuff like that was just we couldn't believe that it was actually happening. But I think it wasn't until probably after the semi-final, when we thought everyone would sort of just drop off, that when everyone kept on the wagon and kept being so supportive, that we were like, oh, we've really changed something here.
Did it change your life, Ginge, being involved with that Wales team at Euro 2016? Like, being involved in something like that?
Yeah, it does, for sure. But we hadn't been anywhere near it before. We had a few chances early on under Mark Hughes, but we weren't expected to qualify for that tournament, and to go on to, obviously we made the semi-final. I still say it all the time. I think the only fact we lost the semi-final, because I played, Ben Davis got suspended and Aaron Ramsey was suspended. I generally think if those two had played, we probably would have won the semi. And then, but it's, you ask anyone who's involved in that squad, the same as the girls. it's something you speak about forever. You know, you do that well for your country. Every time I go home, I speak about it. 2016, and it's something that lives with you, you know, for the rest of your life. And it's certainly, you know, we were away for 9 weeks. I bet you girls were the same.
Yeah,
It's a long time you're away, so you're obviously missing your family. But what it means for the country, and you know, the young fans watching, you know, wanting to, you know, progress and play for Wales, it's been huge for our country.
Yeah. Also, Mackenzie, you've been in the UK a while now. You must have seen what the Lionesses have done to the game in the UK. You must be hopeful that the efforts of the Matildas are going to do the same thing back in Australia.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of our motivation came from that. I think a lot of us were lucky enough to be in England when obviously the Lionesses won the Euros, and to see the impact that had on England, you know, even in bars and out in the garden setting up TVs and everything, and everyone just following along, like literally everyone. And I think it was the coolest thing to see, especially little kids. You know, it started from little girls and then little boys and then, you know, teenagers wearing their jerseys, which is something we obviously are never used to back at home. So that was a big motivation for us, and that was kind of what we wanted to leave on our country. And I think when we half accomplished that, we'll see in the future. But when we started that, I think, you know, we were quite proud of ourselves that although we weren't as successful as maybe what we wanted to be, we still, you know, started a legacy that we can hopefully keep going.
I don't think you'll see you girls won't see the impact, but you can imagine the girls watching, you know, back in Australia, the impact that'll have on them to promote women's football in Australia. And you know, I think what you girls done is going to be massive for Australia.
I'm so proud you're our goalkeeper. It's so cool. You're actually our longest serving player now. So you've been here since July 2020. So did West Ham, East London, does it feel like home now?
It does, yeah. Honestly, it's felt like home since I got here. I think this has probably been the first overseas club that when I came, I instantly felt like home here. I think it was I just slotted straight in. All the girls when I first came were so welcoming, and the staff as well. I think this club has really done so much for me off the field as well. Yeah, and I've just always felt really comfortable and like I belonged here. So yeah, it's felt like home for a while.
It's great because, you know, speaking to Mackenzie, it's the same as when we speak to the current players or ex-players. You know, in the men's team, they all say the same. I say the same. We all say the same about coming to this football club. There's something about it, isn't there?
It is
something about the area, the club, the training ground that, you know, it's a great club to work for. And I think every player, ex-player, current player you speak to, all have the same opinion.
Yeah, and you're our fourth longest serving West Ham women's player, after Gilly Flaherty, Grace Fisk, and Kate Longhurst. What did you learn from kind of sharing a dressing room with those? Now they're legendary West Ham women's players.
You're making me feel old here.
Don't worry, you sat next to me and Chris, you're fine.
I've learned a lot. Honestly, from every single player that's come through. I think, especially Julie being my captain, and just seeing how I think we hadn't had the best season when I first came in. I think we were in a relegation battle my first season. So to see how she handled that, and I guess the togetherness of the team, I think it was something that I'm not used to. It's usually, you know, when you're losing, you know, things turn to shit a little bit. So I learned a lot from all of them, and they're all my very close friends off the field as well. So I think it was a little bit of comfort as well, knowing that, you know, we can go down that road, but we can also, you know, lift ourselves out of it and still be mates off the field. So being
a captain, will you take stuff from every other captain you work for? You know, I speak to Nobes and other captains. They Scott Parker, say with Nobes, and Kev Nolan, they take little bits of all their good captains into being captain themselves. Will you do the same? Yeah,
100%. I think even at home, I still remember my very first captain, you know, when I was 16, 17, and she's in the Matildas now, Claire Polkinghorne, and I learned so much from her just at a young age. And I think you see some of the girls coming through now and they're 16, 17 years old. And I think I just really want to be that person for them, and one that they can remember and learn a lot off. Because I know that when I was a kid, when I was that age, I maybe wasn't the most serious or wasn't the biggest role model. So I can see myself a lot in some of those kids. And I just think, it's a perfect opportunity just to help them grow and learn, but still have fun along the way. So
nice.
Yeah. Great. So let's talk about this season. Under new management now, Rhianne Skinner, who's come from Tottenham Hotspur, where she spent 3 years and got nominated for a WSL Manager of the Year. How's pre-season been under new management?
It's been good. It's been very, very different to what we've had in the past. I think this is probably one of the first pre-seasons that I've actually been in for a majority of the time. And to see what she's done for our team in such a small amount of time is very motivating, gives us a lot of confidence. It's a very different way that we want to play. But I think as pre-season's gone, we've definitely, you know, we've grown as a team. Our confidence has grown on the ball, and I think that's what we've missed in the past. So, yeah, very quietly confident for the season. But yeah, hopefully she can bring us some more success.
I don't think I've ever heard pre-season described as good.
Yeah, I haven't. I've been here for half. That's why.
I only half. Yeah,
I missed the running bit.
Yeah, it wasn't my favourite 5 weeks of the season. I must be fair.
And the season kicks off this Sunday at the Chigwell Construction Stadium against Manchester City.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a walk in the park, right?
Yeah, always. No, Manchester City is always a hard team. I think it's no secret that, we have the teams with the superstars and the teams that, just try and work hard and rally around each other. And I think it's going to be a big test for us. I think it's just going to show us where we are. We had a little bit of an up and down preseason, but I think our performances were well. So I think this is going to be our first big test and just to see where we're really at.
It's probably not a bad one to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Straight off the bat, I suppose, play City first game.
I feel like we always play City. I feel like we've had City first game before.
I think it's not a bad thing. Get them out of the way.
Yeah,
They're not. They might not be quite at it, but we'll feel each other out and see where we go.
Yeah,
you got to play them all eventually, ain't you?
And just tell us about the support that you get playing for West Ham women. Does it make a big difference?
Yeah, it does. I think even before I was starting for the national team, I really felt that support from the West Ham fans, and I think it's just it almost feels like a family kind of. I don't like using that word, but it's what it is feel like. With the fans, they just take the time with you, and I think we obviously haven't had the most successful seasons in the past, but a majority of them still turn up. So and they stick around for the autographs and the photos afterwards. And it just sort of makes you feel like they're not going anywhere and they have your best interest. So yeah, it's very special, and I just I'm very excited to get back out there in front of them on Sunday.
Have you seen the support and the popularity grow since you've been at West Ham?
Yeah,
do you remember
for sure.
Like early days to now the support you're getting? Yeah,
definitely. Again, we didn't have the most successful season when I first got here, so we only had room for improvement there. But I think it's grown worldwide, to be honest, especially in England. This league just keeps getting better and better, and the talent that we're getting through is attracting so much more fans. I think you see Arsenal and Liverpool, I think they're at 40,000 tickets sold now, and that was not even imaginable when I first came to the league. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's getting bigger and bigger, and hopefully just trickling down to the smaller clubs.
There you go. Get behind the West Ham women. Get behind our World Cup superstar, Mackenzie Arnold. Season tickets, Chigwell Construction Stadium, eticketing.co.uk/WHUFC. Good luck with your captaincy, Mackenzie.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Have a great season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us as well. Until next time, come on, you Irons.